Hello guys, sorry, it's kind of becoming a habit now. Today I'm going to talk about the movie Watchmen right here. I know I didn't show V for Vendetta before, but we're talking about Watchmen today. This is the second movie on a triple pack. Now, I will say this in advance, this copy has a director's cut, which is much longer than the normal cut, so keep that in mind when I'm reviewing this. This movie was released in 2009, it's rated R. Now, the original cut was 2 hours and 42 minutes long, but the director's cut that I watched was 3 hours and 6 minutes long. And the movie was released on DVD in 2009. On IMDb, it has about 7.6 out of 10, with about 429,000-ish user votes, and it has 56 on Metacritic with about 39 critics. The movie stars Jackie Earle Haley, who was in Little Children, and I'll just briefly mention this. He was also, of course, Freddy Krueger in the Nightmare on Elm Street remake. It also stars Patrick Wilson, who was in Hard Candy, and of course, people also know him from, like, Insidious or whatever. Of course, this movie's directed by everyone's loving-to-hate director, Zach Snyder, who also did stuff like 300. God, this decade has not been kind to Zach Snyder, I'll tell you that. The movie itself has 64% on Rotten Tomatoes with about 300 critics, and it has 71% by audience. It's about 59,000 user votes-ish. The critics' consensus on Rotten Tomatoes is gritty and visually striking. Watchmen is a faithful adaptation of Alan Moore's graphic novel, but its complex narrative structure may not. I'm sorry, I fucked up. Hold on a sec. When I wrote the critics' consensus down, I think I just skipped a part when I was writing it. Sometimes I do that, so it can be a pain in the ass, so sorry about that, but here's the complete one, but its complex narrative structure may make it difficult for it to appeal to viewers not already familiar with the source material. Okay, and it's available to stream on Max Go. So not everyone may have that, but yeah. It's also available to rent and buy on Amazon, Google Play, Fandango, PlayStation Store, Microsoft Store, iTunes, and Vudu. Now I have to say this. I fucking love this movie. Now, granted, I haven't read the graphic novel yet, but I am aware of one change that I really read. One change I noticed, and it's kind of towards the spoiler plot towards the end, and I will say this, I actually like the change. I think the change is much better than what the book had, based on what I've read about the book through Wikipedia or whatever, I don't. So what I have to say about acting-wise, it's pretty fucking awesome, and I will say this, I do like the fact that the actors in this aren't really super high-profile actors. I like that it's more actors that, at this point in time at least, were kind of more, they weren't huge stars yet, and I like that. I like that they used that, because it made them feel more like the people. It wasn't like, it's like if you're watching a horror movie and all of a sudden you see like popular Kevin Bacon or something like that. It just sticks out too much. Especially when you're doing a team of heroes. Oh my god, cinematography in this movie, I have to say, Zack Snyder knows how to do. When Zack Snyder was good, when he did good cinematography, it was fucking mind-blowing. And here's the thing about Zack Snyder. I like Zack Snyder. I like him fine. I like his movies fine. I just think, for some reason, when he started getting involved in the DC extended universe or whatever, I feel like he switched his tone. Because I noticed in his earlier movies, now, I've seen of his movies Dawn of the Dead in this one. I haven't seen 300 yet. It's something I still have to get to. But as far as I can tell from watching those two movies, and of course the trailers or references to the 300 movie, popular culture references, I can tell that he had an eye for color. And granted, Watchmen is dark and gritty, but there's color in this movie. There's moments of color that really do stick out very nicely. And I don't know where that Zack Snyder went. And I have to say, I think this movie is great. As for the runtime, even with the normal cut, it's a long-ass movie. But in all honesty, in my opinion, long movies shouldn't really bother us anymore. And I say that because we binge watch shit on Netflix and Hulu all the fucking time. So there's really no excuse to bitch about a movie's running time, really. Because we've watched like 3 or 4 episodes that are like 40 or 50 minutes. Right there, that's like 2 hours and 40 minutes to 3 hours right there. I mean, for God's sakes. But, yeah, it's a long-ass movie nonetheless. And it is a hard R movie, don't get me wrong. It is violent, there's a little bit of sex. Not a lot of sex, but a little bit of sex. And it's very complex. I will say this, the fucking climax, I never felt so, like, tripped up in a climax because it really threw me in a loop. It is something I have never ever seen before, and not only in like an action movie climax or a superhero movie climax, but in general, a movie climax. In all movie climaxes, I never saw one that was so like complex and hard-hitting like that. And I have to say, when I first watched it, I was really like, holy shit. Because building up to that, it was like there is a strong, consistent thing, emotional motivation here. But when this hits, it really throws you in a fucking loop. And it makes you really think really fast. At the tail end of the movie, by the time it ends, you're just like, oh my god, things are going to go fucking bananas. And it's the end of the movie. And it's not like things weren't bananas before. They were, but holy shit. And it makes you want to see more. That's what I love about it. And there should have been a sequel, really, if you think about it. But, of course, this was released in 2009, and the MCU was starting to pick up steam. Just started, so couldn't go that far. But, oh man, overall, I have to say I love it a lot. And you may complain about the running time or the complex narrative structure. And sure, maybe when this movie was released, that was probably the case, but nowadays, with the way we watch TV shows now, it really shouldn't be a fucking problem, really, in all honesty. Now, some of you may be, and it is a hard R movie, so some of you may be a little, some of you guys may not used to hard R superhero movies oh, hold on a sec. Sorry, that was my roommate there, of course. But like I was saying, it's a pretty hard R movie, and I would say this might scare some of you who are used to like the MCU Marvel movies, but then Deadpool came out, and it pretty much resurrected the hard R superhero films along with Logan. So, given light to a combination of the resurrection of hard R superhero movies and our Netflix binging, the issues that the critic consensus around Tomatoes points out from, I'm going to assume they probably formatted 2009, maybe 2010-ish. They're not really warranted anymore, in my opinion. And sure, I will say this, the ending is pretty trippy up, and some people may not like that, but bear in mind, if you're watching this for the first time, bear in mind, this isn't a traditional superhero movie. This is a superhero movie that portrays superheroes like, not just like complex characters like Marvel does. Complex characters like some of these guys do some pretty terrible stuff. Some complex shit that not everyone's going to think is very superheroic. But God, it's pretty fucking awesome. And also, I heard that HBO is going to do a Watchmen series or maybe mini-series, and I look forward to that shit. I want to see that shit. But man, it's a comic book movie, but it's also more than a comic book movie. Visually, it's stunning. Overall, it's just an awesome movie, really. And I think if enough people look back on it, I think the approval numbers of it might actually rise, given those two things, the two combination of things that I mentioned a little bit earlier. But But yeah, that's all I have to say about Watchmen. Please check it out. It's a fucking awesome one. Just keep in mind, this isn't a family movie, so you may want to watch it by yourself or watch it with someone with a similar mindset or similar personality or likes to you. But yeah, this is pretty adult stuff here, but awesome adult stuff. But yeah, thanks for watching. Please subscribe and like the videos, and have a good day.